Is Duterte a savior or a cold-blooded killer of the Philippines? Along with the infamous Golden Triangle at the border of Myanmar, Laos, and Thailand, the Philippines is also famous for its drug problem. 5 million people involved in this nightmare at its peak in 2016 are numbers that do not lie. The specter of illegal drugs has long haunted the lives of the island nation on the Pacific coast. That's why, a decade ago, Rodrigo Duterte emerged as a savior for the people of the Philippines. Through unprecedented crackdowns, his government gradually reduced the number of drug users by more than 60%. Yet, now the hero has been arrested by the International Criminal Court (ICC) for crimes against humanity. And today, let's lift the veil behind the mask of this Iron Man. Do you believe that there was a time when the Philippines was considered one of the richest and most prosperous countries in Asia? It seems unbelievable, but it was true in the 60s and 70s of the last century. As an important ally of the United States during the Cold War, due to its strategic position, the Philippines quickly made rapid progress thanks to the flow of money from the United States. If you have ever had the chance to set foot in Manila, you will probably understand what I'm describing. A megacity was born in the Philippines, which was a Spanish colony in the 16th century. This place is a refuge for tens of millions of people. By the time American money arrived in the 1950s, Manila had grown even more like a tiger with wings. There was a time when it was known as the Hollywood of Asia with its booming entertainment industry. And any place that has developed entertainment and services already means you know how rich and prosperous it is. But very quickly, money has brought both Manila and the Philippines to a dead end. If you see the gap between rich and poor in Los Angeles, where the luxurious District 1 is also full of homeless and beggars, then Manila is even worse. The flow of aid money from the U.S. clearly helps this country get rich quickly. But the pace of corruption and social inequality in this island nation is even faster. Perhaps nowhere in the world is food made from trash more popular than in the Philippines. The splendid architecture filled with pleasures, accompanied by a dozen temptations placed right next to the miserable poor, is the perfect recipe for the demon called drugs to rage and destroy this land. Located as a sea gateway to Asia, its corrupt and lax legal system has made the Philippines a golden gateway for illegal goods from the New World. And slowly, like a rat, drugs have been destroying the country from the inside out. The high poverty rate in the Philippines has made many people vulnerable to drug trafficking and use. For many, drug trafficking is a quick and easy way to make a living. The huge wealth gap also creates an environment where drug gangs can easily recruit people, especially young people, and those living in slums. Not only does the government exploit the people at the bottom, but it is also the reason why drugs are so popular. Many government officials and police officers are accused of taking bribes from drug gangs to protect or conceal illegal activity. The lack of transparency and accountability in the legal system allows drug cartels to operate openly and with little resistance. Money is blinding. It wasn't until 2016 that a strong-willed radical Duterte emerged with a promise to eradicate the evil that had plagued the island nation for half a century. As soon as he took office, the Chinese-born man launched a brutal crackdown on the industry. As mayor of his hometown, Duterte has been implementing uncompromising policies for 20 years. However, as the leader of the state and holding unparalleled power, he launched this crackdown with the principle of no apology, no excuse. In simple terms, he jokingly said that he would not listen to the addicts' explanations. And indeed, his drastic measures have had the maximum effect. From 5 million recorded drug users in 2016, the day he took office, after only 3 years, that number has plummeted to only 1.5 million. So, isn't he not only fulfilling his promise to the people, but also being a talented and brave man who has led the Philippines out of the shadow of the drug? Well, it's not that simple. If you've ever watched the famous American movie Crime Scene, you probably know a little about the hardships of the police officers in their work of eliminating criminals, from the investigation stage to the arrest. But that was the story in America. In the Philippines, under Mr. Duterte, things are much simpler. As a cold-blooded ruler, Mr. Duterte once said something as blunt as this: If you are a peddler or a looter, you better leave, because I will send you to hell. And he has given the police the power to shoot whenever they feel it is necessary, in the name of the great cause of cleansing the Philippines. One of the organizations that Mr. Duterte is most proud of is called DDS, or Death Squad. It was established during his time as mayor. Upon entering the presidential office, he immediately replicated this model at a dizzying speed. And they are also given the authority to overrun any situation they feel is necessary. Basically, they have the right to execute any suspect. According to a former DDS member named Matobato, their typical tactic is to approach their targets in small groups of 2 or 3 on unmarked motorbikes, then shoot the victim in places like bars, markets, supermarkets, or other crowded places. The police usually take a long time to arrive and do not bother to collect evidence at the scene. The main places where the death squads frequent are slum areas, which are known to be hiding places for drug trafficking organizations. Most of the victims were men from poor areas who were gunned down by police on the streets or in their homes. In some cases, they were mercilessly stabbed by unknown attackers. Philippine authorities said the police shot the suspects in self-defense. However, police were accused of tampering with evidence, including planting drugs and a gun at the scene. Witnesses said the victim was unarmed and did not pose a threat. The type of injuries the victim suffered also contradicted police claims. Many people were hit multiple times, some in the back or the back of the head, meaning there was no time to determine whether they were real suspects or innocent people. Duterte even set quotas for how many criminals the police had to kill in broad daylight. In simple terms, it is a KPI of life to submit to the local police department. If achieved or exceeded, there will be a generous reward. The number can be up to more than $17,000 depending on the target and campaign. Mr. Duterte himself once said that at least 5 people need to die every day before they learn to fear. And so it is better to hit the wrong person than to miss them. Every time his special forces patrol, there is a cold explosion that goes off continuously, along with the cries of pain. Many a mournful funeral in the Philippines has been held to send people to God for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And stories like that of Marian Domico are not uncommon. On the afternoon of exactly 3 months after Duterte took office, a group of police officers stormed her small apartment and took all the men in her family out. The last time she saw her husband, Luis Bonifacio, alive, he was kneeling on the floor with his hands raised above his head to explain the mistake made by the cold-blooded police. Not only Luis, but also Domingo's 19-year-old son, Gabriel, were executed on the spot after pleading for his life. Mrs. Domingo later saw their cold bodies in the hospital. She has been pursuing the case against the officers since 2017, and it took until 2024 for a judge to rule that her family was innocent. The other 4 officers were found guilty of serious crimes. During his time in office, Mr. Duterte has been responsible for 7,000 cases of public executions. But the number could be as high as 20,000, according to UN human rights organizations. So between 7,000 and 20,000, how many % are innocent like Domingo's husband and children? A heartbreaking question that will probably never be answered. And now, Mr. Duterte has been arrested for crimes against humanity. In our fair audience, do you think this is a savior or a cold-blooded person? Tell us in the comments below. And now goodbye and see you again. Subscribe to the Global Insights channel so you don't miss any interesting videos.